Hey there friends, how's it going? My name is Kevin, and that's right, they finally figured out what's wrong
Nice
with
to
me.
meet you,
It turns
Kevin.
out having 17 toes isn't normal.
Would you not
No,
just
it turns
naturally
out that
weird?
I have ADHD.
Who would have
May not
thought?
be super surprising
Explains
for
a
those
lot,
of you who have
doesn't
maybe
it?
watched me for a long time or watched my streams and saw the chaos
Me
in real
all
time.
along,
In fact,
Kevin.
I could have actually saved a lot of time and money
Who needs
by just
doctors
letting
when you
my
have
Twitch
chat?
diagnose me, but that could be a slippery
Next thing you
slope.
know,
Well,
they'll
a
be
lot of
performing
people
surgery
called it.
via
I
chat.
started down the road of actually trying to figure it out a few
Better late
months
than never,
ago.
I guess.
I'm not exactly sure what made me actually
It's
pursue
called
it, because
worse
it's
in
so
improv.
unlike me
Kevin,
to
look it
actually
up.
pursue something like that. But I guess I was becoming a bit more aware of some of
Self-awareness
my
is the first
flaws
step to
related
recovery.
to it. The problem with ADHD, for me at least, when I was learning about it, is that so many of the problems just seem very,
Well,
very
who doesn't love a
relatable
good
on some
relatable
level.
problem?
Like, I think anyone could look at the symptoms and relate to a few of them. Like, for example, some of the symptoms, if you're not like super knowledgeable on the
Phew,
subject,
I was
don't
getting
worry,
worried
'cause
that
I
I'd have
wasn't
to study.
either. I still don't feel like I am. I'm trying to learn, but hey, it's hard, okay? I don't learn well. Like, I left school at 16. In hindsight, I'm just like, oh my
Looks
god,
like we
why
got a
did it
real
take me
Einstein
until
over
I'm
here.
29 to figure this out, man? I literally was watching a 20-minute video about it, and this was after I was diagnosed, so I was like, this could be really helpful, and it took me like 6 days to get through the whole thing, and I had to keep going back because I was
Sounds
I
like
stopped
my attention
focusing and I
span
just
on a
forget.
good day.
But for those of you that don't know that much, just things like getting very distracted, like you can't think very straight, your mind's very wandering, like tons of unfinished projects, being very impulsive and not being able to focus on some things, and then hyper focusing in other times, which is kind of a dangerous combination when you work for yourself. And it just ended with me being just very overwhelmed by everything and just very locked in my head. I can't really explain the way of thinking. It was very interesting though, because I had a brain scan done. It was like the hat out of Stranger Things. It was just like Stranger Things actually, except it was a pale 29-year-old Irishman sitting in a dark room with the hat on. So it wasn't really like Stranger
Well,
Things.
that's a
It was
cliffhanger
just
of a
strange
sentence.
thing.
Well,
The
you're
thing
definitely
being
stranger
me.
than
But
Stranger
they put one of
Things.
those hats on me, and we got the results a few weeks
The
later.
classic wait in a
after
dark
me
room with a
sitting
hat
in
on medical
room
test.
for, I don't know, like 20 minutes or something with the lights off, my eyes closed. And
Sounds
just in a
like a
recliner
relaxing
chair with this
spotty,
hat on,
minus the
nothing
weird
else.
hat.
And then she brought out this chart and explained it to me, the different types of activity. So it's 0 to 30. 0 being, you're dead, man. Why are you even doing the test? You're wasting my time. If I remember correctly, 4 was sleeping, 8 was normal functioning, 12 like solving a
I don't know about you
problem,
guys,
16,
but I'm
like,
aiming for a
very,
solid
very
8
difficult.
on the
Don't
brain
quote me on that
functioning
'cause
scale.
of who I am as a person.
We
But
won't
that
quote you,
was
we'll
the
just
basic
write it
gist
down
of
and share it with
My
the entire
results,
internet.
where my brain was on fire, it was at 30 at the whole back side of my brain. What
Well,
I do a
that's
lot
one
is
way to
I
stay
will
warm.
unintentionally stop doing something, or I'll forget something, or I'll drop something, or anything along those lines. And that's because I'm so caught up in the back of my head that the front of my head is kind of on autopilot. It's very weird to explain. The front is like the lights are on but no one is home, and the back is like everyone's crammed into the house like a clown car, and they keep interrupting each other, and sometimes one will just stop talking and another will just start talking over everyone else and then immediately stop. It's
That's
so
like my
hard
ex-Griffelder's
to explain, but as
conversations.
someone like who doesn't know anything different, that's just normal.
Sounds like my family
we all have our
gatherings.
own normals, and it's, you just will never
Sounds
know
like a
what
party
it's
in
like
your
to
head.
be average on everything. We all have our like quirks and whatnot, so how do you know?
Well,
By
ignorance is bliss,
researching
isn't it?
into it and actually addressing the problem, I suppose. But why does it have to be that hard? Why can't I just know? It helps understand a lot, because as I said, I
My
didn't
stuff,
really
get a helmet.
understand beforehand. I'm just like the way I am, and that's the way it is. But now I understand a lot more, which
Well,
is super helpful.
congratulations
There's
on
also, like,
discovering
there's
the
positives and
complexities
negatives.
of the
I've
human
known
psyche.
for
Welcome to
a
the
few
club.
weeks now, and I guess one of the negatives is it feels a little insurmountable. Like, if you have an issue with
Cry me a
yourself,
river
you can
try
work
being a
on
comedian
fixing
and
it
dealing with a
anything,
heckler every night.
but sometimes some of these issues feel like they're just hardwired into me, and there's not much I can
Maybe
do
you
about
just
that.
need a software
I just had a
update.
brilliant thought. These videos intimidate me a lot sometimes, because I get overwhelmed and I don't know what I'm I'm saying and what I have said and what I should say. Like, I don't go off a script. That just ain't
Who
me.
needs
I
a
never
script
do
when
that.
you have wit like
I
yours?
always laugh when people say like, oh, he scripted this or he scripted that. Or I had one going, I just don't like your content as much, knowing that you played through the whole thing and then go back and redub it. And I just went, you think I'm doing all that to you? Wow, you have a high opinion of me. And it's like,
Sounds
I don't
like
mean
you
to
need
be
to
so
loosen up
hard
and
on
have
the
some
negatives either,
Negativity
just
is
to
my
be
bread and
honest.
butter, honey.
I think it is part of who I am. It's a big part of my personality, and it hasn't changed
Yeah,
anything.
we don't need
So
something to
realistically,
blame our
I
quirks
just
on.
understand myself a bit better. I
Hey,
also think
understanding
it's
yourself is
in a
half the
way,
battle.
I don't know. I've mixed feelings on this because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's a superpower," but it's actually really feckin' annoying. Like,
The
it
classic
doesn't
love-hate
feel like that,
relationship.
but it definitely has
Hey,
its
at least you're not
positives,
boring,
and
right?
I think it has helped me with the work I've gotten
I'm
into
the
because
rude
I get
hyper
really
focused
into something, and you know, whether it be a games like variety style like I do, I get really obsessed with something.
That's
I'm looking at
dedication,
you,
baby.
GTA Chaos, you know, that Chaos mod, that kind of stuff. And The Sims and Minecraft, whatever it might be.
Ah,
And then
the
I get
holy
tired of them
trinity
and I
of
move on
gaming.
to something else, and that kind of helps me stay fresh and enjoy what I'm doing, and hopefully you also enjoy it. But also for just learning things, I'm like, oh, I can make a thumbnail, and then I get really into it, and you know, I learn a little bit my own way that's completely wrong. Anyone who knows anything about any of the programs I use, look at me while I'm using them and think I'm a lunatic. But it feels like for me that's just been the way I am my whole life, like even in school. It feels like a lifetime of being complained at because you're not doing something right. You successfully accomplished the task, but you didn't use the correct method, and everyone's pissed off at you for some reason. I think that translates to my content as well, like now that I think of it, like especially
The
stuff like
joys
the
of
One
doing
Chunk
things
series. I
wrongly.
do just the weirdest methods, and
I
sometimes
feel you,
they're
man. Rules were
more
meant to be
difficult
broken.
than what they need
Well,
to be.
at
But
least
I
half
just
the struggle
refuse
of
to
being a
research anything.
misunderstood
I'm like,
teacher.
I'm doing
Sounds
it
like
my
my
way.
approach to
And
homework.
that
Story of
translates
my
into
life,
my
man,
real
doing
life
it
as
wrong.
well.
So
I'm
you're
still
saying you're a
little bit
rebel without a
confused on
cause?
where to go from here. I've been told
Pills,
I'd
pills,
be a good
pills. That's
candidate
the
for
solution to
medication,
everything these
probably.
days.
I've been told other things like that you can go to weird therapy. I don't mean weird in a bad way. It just sounded weird to me. That's basically me in a sentence. And also, there was like something shocking your brain and all that. It all sounds very
That doesn't
overwhelming.
sound
It's
like
still
a
very early
pleasant
days for me,
Well,
but I
they
want
said
to
You're a
put this
true
out there,
trailblazer.
to both personally update you on me, because I feel like I can be really closed off unintentionally, both because I'm kind of a private person. Well, I'm very much a private person.
Well, that clears things
I'm
up.
very offline in general. I don't really use social medias that much. And thirdly, I'm like, oh, I'll get around to that, and then it never happens. So let me know if you like this kind of stuff.
Sounds
Drop
like a real
I
social
guess,
butterfly.
or dislike if you don't like this stuff. Yeah, that would actually be helpful.
I'll give you a
'cause I'd like to
dislike
do
just
more
for
stuff
fun.
like this that's a bit more informal, and it doesn't even need to be about me. I just mean like weird stuff I find on the internet that's just a more casual video. But I also wanted to put it out there just so that people can
I'm
see
down
it,
for
and
some
maybe
weird
if they
internet
relate
stuff.
anyway, and I don't know, that just raise like a tiny bit of awareness, because I feel like that's
Well, a real
how
life
I
epiphany, how
ultimately
original.
came to my conclusion. Is just seeing it out on the wild. Like, I never specifically looked it up, and eventually I think it just clicked. Was like, wow, all these people with ADHD sound exactly
You mean
like
there are
me.
others like Cassier?
Wait a minute. It was pretty much that. Don't mean to be negative throughout the video, because I'm just sharing my feelings. But I think everyone has something. I don't think anyone's won the genetic lottery with everything. Something's
Thanks
gonna
for the
come up.
reminder, Captain
And
Obvious.
obviously, for me at least, it can be overwhelming, but it's not the end of the world. It's just, it is
Unless
what
you're
it
a
is. That's the
doomsday
cards you're
prepper, then
dealt,
it is.
And I don't know, I like myself reluctantly sometimes. My point is, we all have our quirks and our crosses to bear, and we're all just unique. We got weird little things. Sometimes they're just quirks, sometimes they're a bit deeper. And yeah, we're all just on our own journey trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I feel like. I hope you enjoyed this for some reason. I will go back to regular programming in the next video. I hope to see you there. Speaking of which, I should probably get started on that. Or I could not do that. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.